Welcome to the Mugiwara Sketches YouTube channel, buddy. In today's video, we're here to discuss the latest chapter, One Piece Chapter 1097, which continues Kuma's amazing flashback and reveals more about the Revolutionary Army. Spoilers and leaks are already flowing in, so let's dive right in. There's a more amazing memory of Kuma in One Piece Chapter 1097, as expected. It has been going on for a while now. This flashback has been amazing, and fans get to see a lot more of Kuma's life in his teens and early 20s in this chapter. In One Piece Chapter 1097, the Revolutionary Army is also added. This makes fans very happy, since it means that characters like Dragon and Ivankov will be moving around as well. Even though it's short, this part gives the story of Kuma a lot more depth and shows fans how one of the biggest organizations of all time came to be. Part 1. Kuma and Ginny grow up. As we all knew, Kuma's flashback will have a lot of time leaps, and One Piece Chapter 1097 had one too. People who read the last chapter finally got to see Kuma and Ginny finish the amazing job they started at the end of that chapter and make their lives better. From what I can tell, Kuma is now a preacher and doing very well for himself. He wants to make life peaceful and help everyone around him. This story about Nika makes Kuma want to be more like him, and he always will. After a while, Ginny also got old, and now she hangs out with old people and often scolds them for not being thankful. There look to be a lot of guys interested in Ginny, but she only wants to be with Kuma, whom she loves very much. In fact, later in the chapter, Ginny also brings up the idea of getting married to Kuma. But he turns her down, saying that he doesn't want the same thing to happen to her as it did to his parents. Of course, this doesn't mean that Kuma doesn't love her. She is important to him, but he doesn't want her to die so soon. In this chapter, Kuma also seems to have gotten better at using his devil fruit. He seems to be healing old people all the time and taking away their pain with his skills. Surprisingly, Kuma decides to take their pain on himself, though. He says that if he doesn't do that, the pain will come back to them, and he can't stand that. Ginny is scared by this, but Kuma is happy about it because he can help people around him with his hands of liberation. Part 2. The Evil King of Sorbet Kingdom. The idea of the bad king of Sorbet Kingdom is also brought up in One Piece, Chapter 1097. There was a very bad king in the Sorbet country, and for a long time, people thought that king was Kuma. More or less, it looks like there is some kind of propaganda against Kuma, and he ends up being blamed for the bad king Bikori. Fans learned in the chapter that this king is actually cruel. He likes hurting people and adding new taxes to make things even harder for them. He even hears that people are mad at him, which makes him even happier in a creepy way. His plans get worse as the story goes on, so he comes up with a new one. He just wants to split the Sorbet Kingdom in half. Rich people, mostly young people, who can pay their taxes live in the northern part of the Sorbet Kingdom. The southern half is meant to be a home for the poor and old people who can't pay their taxes. He basically wanted to make a bad place for these people to live. This makes Kuma angry, so he attacks with Ursa's shock. But in the end, Kuma, Ginny, and their friends got caught and sent to jail. Part 3. Dragon and the Freedom Fighters. One of the most important parts of One Piece after 1097 is Dragon, the leader of the Revolutionary Army. That Dragon would be a very important figure in Kuma's flashback was something that fans were coming for. Fans can get a good look at Dragon and the Revolutionary Army's history in One Piece episode 1097. Of course, the Revolutionary Army was just called the Freedom Fighters at this point. Kuma and Ivankov worked together to make the Freedom Fighters. Basically, this proves that Ivankov is Dragon's real right-hand man. They get people free by going from place to place, but they don't have enough money to set up a real organization. Dragon is very important to Kuma, and Kuma thinks Dragon is a really cool person. The Freedom Fighters are the ones who finally get to the Sorbet Kingdom and save Kuma, Ginny, and all of their friends. Ginny and Kuma both join the rebel army in the end. Ginny is made commander of the east section of the army, which is the same position that is currently being held by Bello Betty. Kuma is one of the three main people who made the army. From this point on, the Freedom Fighters have changed into the Revolutionary Army. This means that Kuma's joining the group was the start of the army. Fans also learn a lot about Monkey D, Dragon's past. Dragon used to be an officer in the Marines, but he quit because he didn't think there was any fairness in that life. That's why he started his own army and, in the end, chose to do what he thought was right. Part 4. Ginny's Kidnapping. Part 1097 of One Piece is pretty short, and at the end, Ginny has a terrible accident. It turns out that she was taken hostage, and fans don't know what happened to her. People at the Revolutionary Army headquarters hear that someone has been kidnapped. They think that a known but also unexpected face is responsible. In One Piece chapter 1097, this character is not shown, but it's possible that the next chapter will be about them. This could explain why Ginny hasn't shown up in the main story at all. Some might say that Ginny is dead and that something bad happens to her here, but that's not likely to be the case. That's because Bonnie hasn't been born yet, and Kuma and Ginny need to spend more time together. In the end, Ginny might die, but the time for her to go has not yet come. And that's a wrap for our breakdown of One Piece chapter 1097. This chapter is packed with exciting developments in Kuma's past and the rise of the Revolutionary Army. Be sure to stay tuned for the next chapter to unravel the mystery of Ginny's kidnapping and discover more about this fascinating world of One Piece. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more One Piece updates. Thank you very much for visiting the Mugiwara Sketches YouTube channel, buddy. We hope you enjoy our funny sketch videos and anime reviews. Don't forget to subscribe to continue joining us on our joyful journey in the world of anime. If you have any wishes, questions, or suggestions for our next videos, feel free to express your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for your support, and until we meet again. See you next time, buddy.